Hey everybody, it's John Halpin. That's Ryan Fowler. Welcome to the Week 15 Tuesday edition of Pickwatch Live. We're going to do what we usually do every week, get an early look at the games. First off, Vikings-Seahawks was close and then it wasn't.
Yeah, again, these Monday night games, they're not as compelling as the Thursday night games have been throughout the course of the season. I will say this, from a fantasy football perspective, which kind of blends into the gambling atmosphere, I've seen Russell Wilson do this before where it gets to postseason and then he kind of checks out. And, I tweeted about it last night. As that game went on, it was obvious that Russell Wilson missed Doug Baldwin because it was either hand the ball off or roll out and try and find somebody deep. There was really no in-between, and that really kind of kept that game close until Kirk Cousins imploded. And, again, the Legion of Boom 2.0, we might want to get to know those names because they are quite good.
Right? They are pretty good. Their defense was, those are a couple of good receivers on the Seahawks, and they shut those guys down.
Yeah, the Vikings' best weapon was Dalvin Cook, and I don't think they used him enough. Granted, Dalvin Cook runs so violently, I think sometimes he sacrifices the violent rushing attack for security of the ball. So I figured if he kept running that fast and he got hit one or two more times by Seattle, that ball was going to pop out. But I still think Dalvin Cook in that matchup was their best option because Thielen was frustrated, Diggs was frustrated. Diggs came up with a big catch, and they couldn't capitalize. But, again, some of the play calls inside the 5 are always head-scratchers this year. And I still think, again, the other thing was Seattle getting a break on the blocked field goal. Who knows if that would have mattered in the end. But that was – I picked the Seahawks to cover, and I'm like, he literally pushed out on the backs. You can't do that.
Yeah, they threw the flag and then went – oh, yeah, that thing we thought he did, he didn't do it, even though he did.
Right, and this is where the refs have been so bad the last 2-3 weeks across the board. I mean, if you watch any single game, there are these calls where you're like, oh, there was the call where he stepped out. He literally, I can't remember which receiver it was, but he stepped out at the 2, and they're like, oh, that's a catch. But he didn't get the second foot down. So it's just mind-boggling of how some of these calls have went the last 2-3 weeks.
Yep. We're going to say hi to Bruce Ragusa joining us all the time. He's always with us. Hi, Bruce. He's watching us this morning. All right, so for the week, I went 9-7 straight up, 6-10 against the spread. I wanted to file a protest over that thing last night because I had the Vikings.
You're going to have to file a protest about your Arizona Cardinals. We'll get to that.
Yeah, Cardinals. Also, the Cowboys, the Eagles, because I thought the Cowboys were setting up for a field goal in overtime.
Yeah. Would you have gotten the push there, or would you have gotten the win?
I would have gotten the win.
Ouch.
And then that deflection and Amari Cooper living under a lucky star since he moved to Dallas. Yeah. So I am 99-104 for the season, which is bad. I was actually 500, finally back to 500 after Thursday night, and then I just tanked on Sunday. You 10-6 straight up, 10-6 against the spread. You're 108-93 against the spread for the season, and you are now 4th against the spread standing on NFLPickwatch.com. So don't listen to me, listen to Ryan.
No. See, as soon as you do that, we have a 3-10 week like we did a few weeks ago. You got to be careful because again, it's these bounces. You take the Cowboys, and then they cover on these tip drills. You get the leverage call. I mean, again, breaks go both ways, but we'll chop up the Week 14 action and see where those breaks came because we pay attention to where each one of those breaks. We call them game-changing moments, especially against the spread, and there were a lot of them.
Yeah. So right now you're looking with 3 weeks to go. You can get to 3rd.
Yes, I can't get to 1st.
After that, the two top guys are, they've got you by 8 and 9 games, so that ain't happening.
No. I'll catch Mike Clay. Mike Clay showed some weaknesses this week, so we'll try and exploit those the next 2 weeks.
Did Clay pick his Eagles?
He did.
He did. No, he picked the Cowboys.
But was it 3.5? No, what was it?
He had Cowboys minus 3.5. Yep.
I know he picked the Vikings.
He did pick the Vikings, as did I. Oh, well. All right.
They stink. They're not very good against good teams.
I know, yeah. But that's we'll talk about them in a couple of minutes. So, folks, make your picks at NFLPickwatch.com. Track those of the experts. You can sort by what teams they pick. You can check everybody's picks by, hey, how did Ryan do picking the Cardinals all year? You can check those picks from last year. There's a whole bunch of ways to sort things. Please check it out. As far as we talked about the people in the lead, okay, Ben Volen from the Boston Globe was 10-6, still in the against the spread lead. He's a game ahead of Jamie Eisenberg from CBS Sports. fantasy guy representing there. How about that? Jacob Feldman from Monday Morning Quarterback had the best record in Week 14. He was 12-4 against the spread. Straight up, Dave Richard from CBS Sports, 140-66. Right behind him, Jamie Eisenberg, Ellie Harrison from NFL Network, Nathan Jenke from Pro Football Focus. 2 games back. Straight up, I am, by the way, against the spread, I am 21st. Ryan's 4th, as we said. Josh is 38th. Straight up, I'm tied for 24th. Ryan's 29th. Josh is 45th. As far as the fans go, straight up, username, is it Ed Ohm?
Ed Ohm. Ed Ohm.
Ed Ohm. All right. So Ed's 145-65, leads the whole site straight up. A username, I'm Midre, IMMIDRE, went 8-8, leads against the spread, 113-81. All right. You want to contact us before the games this week. Interesting schedule, which we'll talk about. I'm at Halpin37 on Twitter. Ryan is at Freelance Fowler. The main account is at Pickwatch. You can also leave us comments on Facebook and like it. We always say, if you're watching this on Facebook, please subscribe on YouTube as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like us on Facebook. The game discussions get chopped up and put on Facebook in addition to the show. So after we do the conversation on Chargers Chiefs here, there will be a clip, 4-minute clip of us discussing that on the YouTube channel. So please subscribe when you get a chance. Okay, let's get to the games. Best game of the week probably on Thursday night, right?
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm ordering pizza. That's how big of it's a pizza primetime matchup. I'm ordering pizza, and I don't do that. I don't do that anymore.
Really, that's a special occasion for you to order pizza
on a Thursday night? Oh, it's getting wild in the Fowler household.
Crazy. So you're not going with the Boboli pizza or the DiGiorno. You're going with the actual, or picking up the phone or using the app and ordering.
Yeah, using the app. Yes, I think this is going to be a compelling game. I know sometimes we build them up and get let down. I really think this one holds true because both teams are still playing well. I think the Chargers had some charging moments in Week 14 against the Bengals, but I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so we've gotten this game as of now. We're recording this. If you're not watching live, we're doing this a little before 9:45 Eastern on Tuesday morning. Chiefs favored by 3.5. Over-under 53. Short week for the Chargers, traveling, not easy. As we've talked about before, those Thursday road teams, it's not an easy haul. A bunch of injuries to talk about at the skill positions.
Yeah.
Chargers backfield. Melvin Gordon, okay. Austin Eckler has been filling in for Melvin Gordon. Eckler and Justin Jackson, right? Yes. Eckler is in the concussion protocol.
He got rocked.
He did get rocked. Melvin Gordon missed last week. There was talk over the weekend that he'd be ready for this game in Week 15. Now, report out of LA says that Gordon did not practice Monday, but it was a walkthrough, and you read it closely. The reports say, well, it's estimated that he did not practice. I don't know what that
That's some interesting.
Because it was a walkthrough and he wasn't in the walkthrough, it means technically he didn't practice. I don't know that we know anything from that yet.
Right.
It's when you read didn't practice on Monday, you go, oh my God, he's not going to play because it's Thursday game. Yeah, this one has a little gray area to it. So let's keep an eye on Melvin Gordon. We'll know more today because they'll practice today. Okay. On the other side of this, Tyreek Hill said, I think Monday morning,
yes,
that his foot is in bad shape. But he was, 8 for $139 or something. So probably
he came back after that foot injury and made that catch that set up the tie.
Yeah. Andy Reid says day to day he expects Hill to play. Spencer Ware hurt his shoulder a little bit during the game, left for a while, came back. Played pretty well, actually. 129 yards from scrimmage. No complaints with Spencer Ware. These two teams played in Week 1. 38-28 win for the Chiefs at LA. Chargers have gotten better since then. Chiefs, though, 1-4-1 against the spread in their last 6. Look, last 4 games, look at this. They had that sleepwalk win over the Cardinals where they didn't cover. That was at home. They lost to the Rams in that epic game. They had a close win at Oakland. And they pulled it out by the skin of their teeth against the Ravens the other day, converting the 4th down late or to tie the game. Huge game for both. If the Chargers win, they're tied at the top of the AFC West. I'm starting to wonder. My initial reaction was, I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
Okay.
And I'm looking at it, I'm going, maybe it's I have in my head of the Chiefs starting 11-1 in years past and then collapsing.
Sure.
I don't think this is the same kind of team necessarily, but they lost Hunt. Watkins is out. Hill might be banged up a little bit. Maybe they're coming back to earth just a little. They're not maybe the dominant force that we thought. They're a really good team, and we love the quarterback. Everybody loves quarterback. But maybe it's not they're not the cruise control top seed that we might have thought.
Yeah, I think those are all fair points, and I think anybody who watches them would agree with you. I mean, there's been a lot of shakeup. Losing Watkins was part of that offense. Obviously, Tyreek Hill and Kareem were getting the headlights, but Watkins was making some plays here and there, and again, take some pressure off of Mahomes to always target Hill and Kelsey. And Kelsey, that dude has definitely lived up to the billing you called about 3-4 years ago. I mean, the dude's a monster. Here's how I look at this matchup. The Chargers, they go to Pittsburgh and they pull one out where it's like they had no business pulling that out. The Steelers lost that game to the Chargers really win it. Then they played down to the level of the Bengals this past week. Now you have to go to Kansas City, which nobody wants to play in, but the Chiefs are reeling a little bit. The hook makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
But I really think this comes down to how much pressure does the Chargers front seven get on Mahomes? Does Joey Bosa harass him? Because when the Ravens did that, Mahomes did look a little lost. Now, he pulled rabbits out of his head left and right to make plays. But I don't know if the Chargers can do it enough to really harass. Again, with all these missing pieces, is Gordon playing? Is Hill playing? We know Eckler's out. What is Justin Jackson? We don't have a huge sample size. Watkins is out. They're using Garrett Dieter. I don't know if you know this. Their wide receiver 3 this past week, Garrett Dieter, started at BGSU where I went to school, Bowling Green State, transferred to Alabama his last year or two, and now is called off the practice squad. So they pick up Kelvin Benjamin, and now they're throwing Garrett Dieter out there. It's a little shaky after Kelsey and Hill in the passing game. But, again, this is a roundabout way of saying I think if Hill plays, I'm going to take the Chiefs with the 3.5 hook. Because I think the Chargers, they're not charging like the classic Chargers have done. But the way they played at Pittsburgh and the way they played against a horrible Bengals team that should have just been destroyed, it gives me pause.
Okay. I think I could change my mind before Thursday. And if you're watching this clip on YouTube looking for a pick and you get a wishy-washy pick, I apologize. I think I'm going Chargers.
Okay. Now, does Hill matter to you or does it matter?
Yes. I mean, he doesn't play. That's huge.
Yeah, I think if Hill's out, I go Chargers. I hate to be on the fence, but it literally comes down to if Hill plays, they're going to inject something into his foot that numbs it to no end. I mean, I can't imagine how many needles are flying around in this league for some of the injuries these people are coming back from around the league, not just Hill. But he's going to numb it up, and they're going to play, and I think they're going to make some huge plays against that secondary. I know the Chargers are better, but I don't like the go to Pittsburgh, pull one out, go to come back home, play down to Cincinnati's level, and then have to get back up on a short week. Maybe if this was a full week, I'd feel better with the Chargers, but they need more time to get ready for a big game like this with the way they played the last 2 weeks.
I think that's a good point. And that's my hesitation, but I think you said if Hill's out, you go Chargers. If Hill's out, I'd absolutely go Chargers.
Yeah.
But with Hill banged up is partly what's making me lean Chargers. I mean, the last few weeks, look, I like Ware, and I remember in the backfield, in the beginning of 2017, Ware had that job until he got hurt.
Yes.
It's not like, they brought in Kareem Hunt to take over Where they didn't.
No.
And
you're right.
And Ware has, I mean, he showed the other day he can catch the ball, he can run, he's pretty good. So, I mean, they drop off a little, I think. The Watkins injury, that they drop off there. If Hill's slowed down, they drop off there. Like you're asking a lot of the rest of the team there.
And then just one more point to kind of put the icing on my cake on this one. So if Gordon's out for the Chargers, you're leaning on Justin Jackson, and that's really, I know he had a good game 2 weeks ago. That's really an unknown commodity, and you need some balance for Phillip Rivers to be Phillip Rivers in his best sense. If they don't have Gordon and they have to lean on Justin Jackson, and I don't even know who their RB2 is, with Eckler concussed and Gordon out, do you know who their RB2 is?
After Jackson? No, I have no idea.
Exactly. So how does that work? I mean, they can fall back in pass coverage and say, okay, Justin, you show us that you can beat us. And he could. He very well could. We've had some new names come to the top here in the last 3 weeks as far as running backs. But, again, the moving pieces in this at 3.5, if Hill plays, I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Okay. All right. I'm right now leaning Chargers.
Okay.
Check us on Twitter and check on NFLPickwatch.com to confirm on probably Thursday evening what we're doing.
Get some pizza.
Let's go now. We got Saturday. We got 2 Saturday games this week, which is fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
Fun.
First, Texans. I think what I'm going to do Saturday, I have normally holidays we kind of we're jam-packed.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything on the calendar. I think I might smoke a pork butt and hang out Saturday and watch some football.
Smoke a pork butt.
So that's the tentative plan. We'll see how that goes.
I like it.
It'll be after a long Friday night because our high school, the Weddington High School Warriors, are playing for the 3A state title in North Carolina on Friday night.
That's a late championship.
Yeah, well, it's 5 rounds of playoffs. This is the 5th round of playoffs. Yeah. So we might be driving up to Chapel Hill for the game on Friday night, which is 2.5 hours on a Friday. And that's after me doing the show with Josh at 7 a.m. Eastern, which means I get up at 5 to prep. So it's going to be a long drive.
It's the world's tiniest violin.
Yeah, it's going to be like this on the way home. Oh. All right.
You should sponsor 5 Hour Energy and get some sponsorship for this show.
Texans, Jets. Texans favored by 6, over under 41. Texans finally lost a game to the Colts. Jets finally won a game at Buffalo. Sam Darnold keeps showing flashes. Not great, shows flashes. Do the Texans bounce back here? I think the Jets are still bad. I mean, we got to remember, they beat the Bills. And the Bills, as much as I like them, I mean, look, mea culpa, they were my favorite bet last week. And I lost. And I was all over them. Mm-hmm. But they're still the Bills. I just thought the Jets were worse and that the Bills' defense is going to play well at home. This seems like a little bit of a big number for the Texans to cover the way they play because they take the air out of the ball so much.
Right. This again, I say this every week, but I have 15 other jobs. This was one of my deep dives, so I have a little bit more info on this one than I do other games. The weather conditions in this are going to matter because it's going to be unseasonably warm on Saturday in East Rutherford. Temps near 50, but it's 80% chance of rain. So you could have a mutter here, which gives the Texans a little bit of an advantage here because even though they were held in check on the run against the Colts, which, again, the Colts are just an epiphany as far as, where did all this defense come from? But anyways, Lamar Miller was shut down. The Texans had been averaging over 200 rush yards per game. They get shut down by the Colts. They go to New York, and the Jets' rush defense is not good. They're giving up 170-plus yards on the ground each week. You have conditions for a running game. Do they slip? Do they fall? Is there not? Whatever. I think this game favors the Texans in that the conditions are right because Sam Darnold can't lead them back through the arm, which the Texans secondary is weaker than their front seven. I'm going to take the Texans to cover, but I'm also looking very hard at that under because, again, the conditions are not going to be right for a lot of scoring. And to your point, they take the air out of the ball. Jets
might be without Isaiah Crowell, too. Re-injured his foot the other day against the Bills, so we'll see.
And Elijah McGuire's not that good.
No, he's not. And it's funny, they haven't – when he came back, and they talked him up in the preseason as sort of the change of pace back. And when he came back, he said, they're going to use him, and they didn't. Right. And last week they had to.
Yep. But 17 carries for 60, 62 yards.
Yeah. I mean, he can catch the ball a little. I don't know. I'm early going, I'm on the fence because the Jets are not good. And the Texans have won enough. I think I might, as long as it doesn't go over 7, I think I might be leaning Texans right now. All right. Browns, Broncos. Your Cleveland Browns.
My Cleveland Browns.
Playing at Denver Saturday night. Broncos by 3, over-unders 45.5. Biggest injury here is Denzel Ward. He was out with a concussion on Sunday. Greg Williams said on Monday he sounds optimistic that Ward's going to be back. The Browns here. So the Browns are 1-5 they're playing well. They're 1-5 on the road. And the Broncos, they're fine at home. They haven't been great, but they're fine. This spread to me, this says respect. Another one. It says respect for the Browns.
Agreed, and I think we're going to have another letdown. I think playing at elevation is no fun. That has shown its teeth, I think, a little bit more based on some of the teams that have went into Denver and just the way that they performed based on the way that they had played not in Denver. So I think you have to take it into consideration, the elevation. I know it's cliche, but it does matter. The one thing I noticed about Denver at San Francisco was, besides not being able to stop George Kittle, who's going to go to the Hall of Fame if he gets to play the Broncos every week.
Team Kittle.
Denver missing Emmanuel Sanders is going to play a role in this game too. You say Denzel Ward's the biggest injury. I think Emmanuel Sanders for the second week in a row is the biggest injury in this game because without him, it just seemed like Case Keenum is like, I got Cortland Sutton and I got all these.
He's got 3 rookies.
I mean, it's going to be a healthy diet of Freeman and Lindsey, and the Browns can't stop the rush. So you're going to have a shortened game. Look at the under in this. Because I God bless Baker Mayfield, what he did against the Panthers, but I think a lot of people thought he was going to do that against the Panthers. The problem is the Browns couldn't stop Christian McCaffrey. So if you go to Denver and you can't stop Phillip Lindsay and you can't stop Royce Freeman, you're not going to cover the spread in this case. You're going to, again, it's this accordion effect with the Browns. They're showing promise, but I think this is tough. I think if they weren't playing at Denver and they were playing maybe another below average team, not up in the mountains, I'd probably take the Browns. But I think that their inability to stop the rush when you have to go against Lindsey, who wasn't utilized as well as he had been in recent weeks against the Niners, you're going to pay the price.
Yeah, I think I'm going Broncos too. I think this spread is a little generous to the Browns, much as I like them. Yep. Much as I like Baker. I love Baker.
I mean, it was just – I actually got to see – it wasn't just a red zone pop-in for me. I got to see the whole game against Carolina, and it was highly entertaining.
Yes. Okay, now we're on Sunday. Vikings favored by 8 over the Dolphins, over under 44.5. Vikings coming off the tough loss to the Seahawks, where everybody, including the Monday Night Football crew, is beating up on Kirk Cousins, calling him overpaid and ineffective. And
it's kind of mean.
Yeah, they were harsh on Kirk Cousins. They were really harsh. Yeah. So Dolphins coming off that ridiculous ending on Sunday.
I yelled at my TV.
Yeah?
Oh, it was one of those yell at my TV moments.
Yeah, it was a great ending. Because I went to a friend's house and I got there. Did you see the ending to the game? I go, no, why? Oh my God. Tannehill is struggling with an ankle injury. We're going to see it. They said he played through it on Sunday. Sounds like he's going to go. I don't know how much it's affecting him. So the Dolphins, I can't believe the Dolphins are 7-6.
Right.
All year we're talking about how bad they are. Yeah. And they're not. I mean, they're not good, but they're 7-6. Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are, right?
Right.
And but except they're 1-5 on the road. They've been so much better at home.
Right.
And now they go, it's not cold weather, they're playing in a dome, so we don't have to worry about that. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this one.
Yeah. It's a lot of points.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of kick things off here. I'll say Tom Brady, Miami is his kryptonite. I said it on this show last week. They do not play well at Miami, so let's take that with. And the funny thing is, Tom Brady actually had a good game. So I'm actually kind of talking out both sides of my mouth here because Tom Brady played well. He had the moment before halftime where he kind of melts down, and then but they didn't cover whatever it was. Was it 9.5 by the time Sunday rolled around? I mean, it was a ton of points, and that's just too many to give Miami with the way New England had played. Tom Brady played great, but a lot of points. Xavier and Henry or Howard? Howard missed the game against the Patriots, and that's how I think Cordero Patterson caught that amazing touchdown. With again, CP is playing out of his mind with New England. I think Xavier coming back this week gives me a little bit of leniency to go after the Dolphins. If he's out again, Diggs and Thielen are going to eat because they didn't eat this past week, and I'll probably lean the Vikings. If Xavier's out again, I might think about the Dolphins, assuming Tannehill plays, because Kenyon Drake's played well, and I think 8's too many with the way the Vikings are playing right now. I think Xavier's kind of my X factor because if Cousins goes back home and has no defensive help in the secondary like that Xavier's been one of the best players this year in the secondary. I think Diggs and Thielen have big games, and they cover the 8.
All right, and just by the way, the Vikings still have, as shaky as they've been, they still control their own destiny for playoffs.
Which is huge because it gives you momentum to go into that game. Dolphins
at home, Lions on the road, Bears at home.
Ooh, that Bears game.
So, Ryan, I'm moving. I got to get out of this sunlight.
No problem.
I can't subject people to this.
I'll do some elevator music. Dude.
This is like Booger McFarland, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got your own.
I'm on the trailer. But I'm moving to another room.
He's literally moving.
I'm
great.
Moving. That's what
It reminds me of Family Guy, where Peter Griffin has his own theme music when he walks around the neighborhood.
You get a tour of the house.
It's a beautiful house. Look at that. Is that a grandfather clock?
Christmas tree. It's a grandfather clock, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So classy. Where are we going to do this? At the kitchen?
Let's see.
Man, your house is clean. I'm really jealous. It's
kind of like a warehouse, really.
Oh, you just have a bunch of stuff everywhere.
They had a bunch. We've been here for a year and a half, and we really haven't, settled in that much.
You should do it in the kitchen. I think that'd be, and then we could get a snack in the middle of the
Get a snack?
Yeah.
Pantry's behind me. How about that?
Oh, there we go.
No, I got to do better. Here, how about that? I got to lower the seat. No, I'm going this way. There's no choice, Ryan. We got to do it today.
I love this. This is my favorite episode.
Really?
15. I love that you were open to just ad-libbing, because I think that's
the sun was in my face.
I think that's what makes live TV so great, because you have to ad-lib sometimes. And everybody's like, oh, it's such a professional production. No, this is what it is. What John just went through, that's what live TV is right there.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Let's go to the next game.
Yeah.
Raiders-Bengals.
Sure.
So Bengals by 3. 3. Right?
Yeah.
Weird?
Oh, at home, absolutely weird.
Yeah, over under 46.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So the Raiders have played 2 decent games in a row. Close loss to Kansas City at home, and then they beat Pittsburgh. However, the only thing they've done on the road is beat the Cardinals on that late, when the Cardinals fell on their face late in the game. Bengals, on the other hand, they've lost 5 straight, 7 out of 8. This is a who do you hate more game for me. Who do you hate more?
I think the Bengals have actually played quite well with Driscoll. I know Driscoll's not going to win a starting job, but I think Driscoll will have backup QB job security for a while. I think he's made some plays, and I think Joe Mixon ran pretty violently against the Chargers. And they're making chicken soup out of chicken droppings. I mean, they're doing what they can do. And again, Marvin Lewis, I watched it because I live in Cincinnati, so his press conference was on the local news last night, and he's still using the same cliche coach speak after a loss. We didn't make enough plays. We got to make more plays. And then he just reiterates that, and it's like, does he know he's out? Does he know he has job security indefinitely here in Cincinnati? I think the players kind of get up for this game because this is more about them than whatever happens with Marvin Lewis. I think it's a pride thing for the Bengals in this case. You always talk about that, where it's like you get pushed so far, you got to push back a little bit. And the Bengals did push back against the Chargers. I think the Raiders traveling cross-country again, they had some fun last week, but they kind of come back down to earth. The big thing for the Bengals, stopping Jared Cook. When the Raiders have played well this year, Jared Cook has been a monster.
Yep.
Stop him, you win the game, and you cover the 3.
Yeah, I think I'm taking the Bengals. I mean, look, we're past the point where, and I should have learned last week, I did learn last week again, making a really bad team a lock is usually a bad idea.
Right.
But I like the Bengals quite a bit in this one. I mean, I think the Raiders are worse. Early start for West Coast team, all that stuff. You're right. They haven't been bad with Driscoll. So.
No, and it's crazy. I'm like, man, he's a little bit mobile. He calls his own number sometimes. He doesn't have A.J. Green. He's still completing passes. I mean, and Mixon, it's funny to watch Mixon run because he is so frustrated. I think he's just taking it out on the field, just the way that this season has collapsed so quickly.
Do you know Driscoll ran a 4.52 at the combine?
Really?
He's fast. Like he's like, I mean, he's big and he's fast. He can really run.
I missed where he went to college. Do you happen to know off the top of your head?
I think he wasn't he at Florida and transferred?
Yes, that's exactly who it was.
Yeah.
You're right. Yep.
So, I don't know where he went after Louisiana Tech or something, I think.
Yeah.
But, he had some good – you look at his college rushing stats, they're pretty impressive. Yeah. And I think I've been disappointed. I kind of thought he was going to run more.
Right.
But he hasn't run that much. All right. I think I'm leaning Bengals here. Bucs-Ravens. Ravens favored by 8, over under 46.5. Lamar Jackson hurt his ankle the other day. He says he's fine. X-rays were negative. So Harbaugh says Monday in quarterback frustration part 7 that, well, if Joe Flacco's ready, it'd be silly to assume that he won't be part of the game plan.
Right.
Dude, you just won 3 in a row and barely lost to the team with the best record in the league on their own field. Leave it alone.
And you can run against the Buccaneers.
Right. They have one of the worst run defenses in the league. There's just you're in a rhythm. You're in a good spot because you put Flacco on the field and it changes everything. Mm-hmm. It's a completely different, scheme.
And Joe Flacco's not your quarterback in the next 2-3 years. So what are we doing?
This is dumb. I don't know if I believe him. I'd
rather watch RG3 than Joe Flacco at this point.
So,
go ahead.
The Ravens, I got to say, I thought last week the Chiefs were going to cover because I thought the number was too small and that the Ravens, as good as their defense was, they just weren't that good of a team. I think I underestimated them. I mean, they shut down the Chiefs as well as anyone. Maybe the Broncos had a game like that against the Chiefs in Denver. But I don't know. They were impressive. And at home, they've been good. The Bucs have been 1-5 on the road. Like you said, they can be run on. This, I smell route.
Yeah, and the one thing about that number, the 8 seems high, right? Jameis Winston has played out of his mind since he took the job back again. This is where he turns into a pumpkin a little bit. Because with T. Sizzle, like, I hate the Ravens. They took the Browns away from Cleveland, yada, yada, yada. Terrell Suggs might be one of my favorite players. Like, the guy just makes plays on that pass rush. He gets his hands up, and, like, it's just crazy to watch Terrell Suggs. So when I think Ravens pass rush and making plays and turning Jameis Winston into a pumpkin because he's played so well since he took the job back from Fitz, I see Suggs bringing him back down to earth. And I can see either a pick six or strip, sack, fumble, scoop, score. It's going to be one of those plays that really pushes the Ravens ahead in this one. I'm going to take the Ravens to cover the 8. If Flacco plays, I might second-guess that because the Buccaneers' offense has been good. But I think playing at Baltimore is a different beast. And what Winston's done, he's got to regress to the mean. I don't think all of a sudden he figured out all of life's answers. And I think playing at Baltimore is one of those wake-up calls that he needs.
All right, I agree with you. I'm going Ravens. Cowboys-Colts. Bob Woodward, one of our viewers, asked us about Cowboys-Colts. Here we are. We just got to it. So,
yeah, buddy.
All right, so Cowboys, this is a good game. Colts by 3. It's at Indy. Over under 47. Two hot teams. Cowboys won 5 in a row. Last 3 of them have been at home. But they're only 2-4 on the road. Indy's won 6 out of 7. Injury-wise, Cowboys might get Sean Lee back. He's supposed to practice Wednesday. That's all we know. David Irving probably not ready. There was rumors that he could practice Wednesday too, but that seemed a little less likely. But again, we're doing this Tuesday morning, so we're not sure yet. Zach Martin, Dallas's star guard, aggravated MCL injury. We're not sure. He played through it on Sunday. We're not sure what his status is. Colts had a big win at Houston. I mean, that kind of proved that was a proving ground for them, and they came up big. It's a good game. I mean, I'm leaning Colts because the Cowboys on the road have been different. I know the Cowboys are a better team with Amari. They've been it's night and day. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I still think I'm leaning Colts. I like them. I think it's a close game. I think it went up to 3.5. I'd have pause.
Yeah.
Right now I'm going to lean Colts.
Okay. I think the Zach Martin injury is getting downplayed. I think that needs to be highlighted with capital letters, caps lock, bold, italic, underline. Because if he's not there, Dak, when he got pressure by the Eagles, man, he does not protect the ball. He fumbles. He's missed some throws lately. And when we go back to what the Colts did against the Texans, they can implement some of that same strategy against the Cowboys. They're very similar teams because when the Colts rush – so basically what happened was the Colts stopped the Texans' rush offense that had been averaging 200-plus yards with Lamar Miller, Alfred Blue, and Deshaun. So they stopped that. The Texans are in down and distance, and the Colts sack Deshaun Watson 5 times in that game because they had to drop back and then load up and run. So if Zach Martin's out, Zeke isn't going to have the running lanes that he's had in recent weeks. And you brought up Amari Cooper. Since Amari Cooper got there, Zeke's been a madman. I think he's been held. He's had 3 games over 100 rushing yards and 2, technically 1, because I'm going to give Cooper's first game with them a pass. 1 game with 75 yards. So if Zach's not there and Zeke doesn't have the same lanes and they get a pass rush on Dak, that's where I favor the Colts in this matchup because I think based on the way that the Cowboys, their Van Der Esch is great. If they get Lee back, great. Their pass rush is great. Carson Wentz made some throws downfield that Andrew Luck can definitely make. And T.Y. Hilton, with a shoulder injury, just destroyed a decent secondary. Yeah. So I think this is where a lot of the advantage tilts into the Colts' favor. I'm going to take the Colts to cover the.
Byron Jones is a good corner, though.
Yeah, but what Luck has done, it doesn't matter who outside of the Jacksonville game, he's making every throw. Yeah. And the throws that Wentz made on the 3 touchdowns to set up the 3 touchdowns, because most of those passes were short, there were some downfield openings where I'm like, man, Andrew Luck can do this too.
Right.
Again, you talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. You kind of play out a game in your mind. Yeah. And like when I envision Andrew Luck and what he's done the last 2 months, Jacksonville game aside, you get your home turf, and there's some gaps in that coverage where T.Y. Hilton can make those Tyreek Hill plays, or Tyreek Hill makes the T.Y. Hilton type plays downfield. I like him in this spot. Marlon Mack has to have a good game, and that'll be tough. But I really think that Zach Martin injury needs to be paid attention to because if he's out, I definitely like the Colts.
All right. One other thing about this game. Ezekiel Elliott, look, I know he's a workhorse, and you said he's been terrific since Cooper got there.
Yeah.
I know they got to win. He touched the ball 40 times on Sunday.
And he had a stinger there late in the game. I remember the run was down the right sideline, and he came out for a second.
At some point, you have to manage that.
And Ron Smith's good.
Yeah. And I felt like I saw him on the field a little bit.
Yeah, that's when Zeke had the stinger.
Yeah, I don't know. I say at some point I know they got to win. I know it's not like they can take chances, but that's a lot. That's just a lot for anyone.
And I'm just fascinated in this rush defense of the Colts that just stopped the Texans' rush off. Can they do it 2 weeks in a row? This might be the second best game behind the Chiefs and Chargers.
That's a good one. All right, next up, Lions-Bills at Buffalo. Bills by 2.5, over under 38. Josh Allen, again, the Caucasian Cam Newton. Good grief. That guy is just – he just tucks and runs. It's great.
Yeah, it is. It's
fun.
great for fantasy football owners.
Another one. I don't want him throwing for me, but he's fun to watch.
They don't have any targets.
No. Well, you know what? The guy from Alabama, Foster, he's really fast. They actually finally got him some – he had a couple of big games with big plays, and this game he actually got the ball a bunch. So maybe. And Zay Jones is getting the ball deep. So maybe things are looking up for them in that department. LaShawn McCoy, hamstring injury. We're not sure what's going to happen with him. He came out of the game after, I think, 2 carries the other day.
Scheduled bullet point. We just scheduled the McCoy hamstring injury.
Yeah. Ziggy Ansah for the Lions sounds like he's done for the season with a shoulder injury. I want to pick the Bills to bounce back. Again, so with the Lions last week, I was excited. I was sitting here with you and with Josh saying the Lions shouldn't be favored by 3 over anybody on the road.
It was an awful game.
I think one of the things about the Lions that I underestimated, I understood it, but I underestimated it, was that in their losing streak, their struggle, they had lost 5 out of 6, but the schedule was actually kind of tough.
Okay.
It was the Bears a couple of times.
Sure.
And they beat the Panthers, and the Vikings were in there. It wasn't a bunch of cupcakes.
Right.
So now my instinct is to pick the Bills to bounce back because their defense at home has been pretty good. Generally, the game against the Jets the other day, whatever. My gut says Bills, but I'm not as excited about them as I was last week. And put it this way, if this game was last week, I would have jumped all over the Bills.
Sure. Now
I'm more hesitant, but I'll still pick them.
I mean, doesn't this show some respect to the Bills? We always talk about the respect the Browns get. I mean, they're favored. This team, I mean, where the Lions started and when they had all the Golden Tate and they had a running game, it was fun for the Lions. Now it's not so much fun. And they wore out the 40s in Arizona last week. I'm going to take the Bills in this one. And I think that 2.5, you grab that before it goes to 3, and you roll with that. Because I think the thing that lost the game for the Bills, lost the cover for the Bills, was Josh Allen turnovers. So if Allen cuts out the turnovers, they win and cover that game with ease because the Jets weren't doing anything. I think it was 3 turnovers for Josh, maybe 2 interceptions and a fumble. You cut those out, and you win and cover against the Lions.
All right. I think I agree.
Oh, one other injury, and again, I don't get crazy on the defensive side of the ball, but this is pretty pertinent, and I was reading about him. They have this guy, Milano Cookies. He's a linebacker. He's like their best linebacker. I don't know. Milano Cookies is a big fan here in the Fowler household, but he's out for the season. So you lose a linebacker that is a playmaker. It's noteworthy heading into this game with such a small spread.
Milano Cookies.
Yeah, I wouldn't Google that, but I would Google Milano and Buffalo Bills, and reading up on him, it seems like that's going to be a huge gap in the defensive front 7 for the Bills.
It's Matt Milano, but
Milano Cookies. If he doesn't have a sponsorship, you're welcome.
I'm sure he'll get right on that. All right. Packers, Bears. Bears by 5.5. Over-unders 45.5.
Your Bears. Your Chicago Bears.
My Chicago Bears that I pick every week. The Bears are 6-1 at home. They only lost to the Pats. The Packers 0-6 on the road, including 1-4 against the spread. 1-4-1 against the spread, by the way. Trubisky was shaky on Sunday night. No way around that. As well as the Bears played on defense, Trubisky was very shaky.
Quarterback play made me want to.
Yeah. The other thing here, though, this spread seems low.
I'd agree.
Like the Packers, I know they won on Sunday against the Falcons. They're still not good.
I want to underline that. They're still not good.
They're 0-6 on the road, and they're under 500. And again, as I said a couple of times earlier in the season, they pulled 2 games out of their They pulled a rabbit out of the head, as Jason Witten would say, as you referenced earlier, twice against the Bears and the Niners. This seems like an obvious cover for the Bears
because of the Bears' defense.
Yes, and just the general quality of the teams. The Bears are just a better team.
But Trubisky is going to play better against the Packers?
I think he's going to play better than he did on Sunday. I think Trubisky is a flawed player, and he's a school. I was joking around earlier in the season that not poor man's Alex Smith, but he runs. They were keeping him out of trouble generally. I said to someone yesterday, that it was a little controversial when they made that trade for him last year when they traded up to get him, because they traded up one spot and it didn't look like it was necessary, and they said, "Well, we got our guy."
Right.
And now looking back, easy to say now. Could you imagine if they'd stood pat and taken Mahomes or Watson?
Yeah, right. Man, with Khalil Mack and all those fun defensive players on there.
I don't mind Trubisky. I just think they need to keep him. He should be a game manager and a guy who makes plays with his feet,
like Josh Allen.
And Trubisky's fast. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But this game, even with the quarterback differential, this seems like an obvious cover for the Bears. Like I said,
I need some time on this. I might take the Packers. I still think, again, Aaron Rodgers plays, and Aaron Rodgers can only control what's going on offense. But I don't know if you read Philbin's body language, but he's like, I don't want to be here type moment. Like, I don't want to be in this position. So I almost feel like LeBron ran the Cavs. Aaron Rodgers is running the Packers now the rest of the season. And I think Aaron Rodgers wants to prove everybody right. You made the right decision by getting rid of McCarthy, and you keep it within 5.5. I don't think they can beat the Bears, but I think they can keep it close. So as of Tuesday, I'm going to lean Packers to cover. But if I was taking money line, I don't know what the money line is, but I would take the Bears. Actually, I have it right here. Let me see. Because we go to our go-to, of course, money lines on a different page.
Come on, really?
I'm just walk around my house with my webcam, and
I might relocate again just for the scenery.
I just want to see different parts of your house.
Yeah, I'll show you the dog before we're done. The whole thing.
Green Bay money line minus 270. That's pretty steep. I don't really want to risk two. Yeah, I'll just take the Packers to cover the 5.5.
All right, I'm going to take the Bears. Giants Titans. Giants favored by 2.5. Over under 43.5. Giants getting some respect here. Giants still alive for playoff berth, believe it or not.
Should they have lost all these games? You're a Giants fan. Like, do you like them winning these? I mean, I tweeted it out. They would have been accused of point shaving, and rightfully so, if they lost that game to the Redskins.
Yeah, I agreed. Well, I got past hey, they're screwing it up. After the second or third win, I went, all right, now I want them to try to play well.
Okay.
And they are playing well. But the thing is, they're playing so well now that I think we're getting another year Eli out of this, which I don't know if that's a great thing.
Ooh.
But Saquon's Superman.
He's awesome. He's
unbelievable. He really is unbelievable.
Barry Sanders. He literally when he keeps his plays alive, it reminds me of Barry.
But he's faster.
Yes.
I'm not saying he's better.
No.
He's so fast.
I'd agree.
So, all right. This game, thing is, though, they won 4 out of 5, right? And they look like they're much better. Let's remember that while taking care of business has its merits, the 4 quarterbacks they've beaten in those wins, Nick Mullins, Fitzmagic, Chase Daniel, and Mark Sanchez.
And Josh Johnson.
And Josh Johnson for half, yes. So just, keep that in mind that, the Giants aren't some world-beating team at this point. They are getting respect with this line. Odell Beckham sounds like he'll be back this week, by the way, after that late scratch over the weekend. The Titans, we talk about them all the time. They're Jekyll and Hyde. They're 2-5 on the road with wins at Dallas and at Jacksonville. They lost everything else. I guess Giants. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this game. This is one of those tough ones for me. You're asking me to pick. I'm going to probably pick the Giants. If I had to pick 5 games for the week, this would not be one of them.
Completely. Super contest reference. I'm going to take the Giants.
Okay.
I'm just going to keep it short and sweet because analyzing the Titans and Derrick Henry rushing for 42,000 yards in one game, it's an exercise in futility.
Yeah. Because you think you figure out the Titans. They had a couple of big wins in a row, and you went, all right, here they come. And they fell on their faces. And then they came back last week with a big win. So you're like,
because Derrick Henry, who was buried all year.
Right. Now, and against the Giants, Derrick Henry will get, he'll have 10 carries for 27 yards and disappear again.
Yep.
I don't know. All right. Redskins, Jags. Jags favored by 7. Over-under only 36.
36.
Josh Johnson versus Cody Kessler. I don't know who's calling that game for Fox, whoever it is. I'm sorry. It's terrible.
Dick Stockton or...
That's who had Panthers the other day.
Or Ryan.
It was Stockton. It was Stockton, Chris Carter, and Schlereth for the Panthers Browns, which was not a terrible game, actually.
They probably won't get back to back.
Yeah. All right. So the Jags at home have actually not been terrible. They lost to the Titans. I don't have all of them from me. They beat the Pats. They almost beat the Steelers in that game that they threw away that could have saved their season and didn't. They shut out Indy a couple of weeks ago. The Redskins, Jordan Reed's probably out again. Josh Doctson's probably out. The quarterback situation's a disaster. The Jags played decently against – they didn't play decently against the run last week, but at home they played decent against the run, and now they're going to get Adrian Peterson, and they're going to be able to stack up against them because the quarterback can't beat them. 20-0? 27-0?
I was going to say 16-3.
It's something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. This is – I mean, what a horrendous game.
I want to know who's calling the game.
I do. I want to know who's calling the game, too. I don't think we can – I don't know if we're going to wait now. They usually announce it on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I think you're both going Jags with the cover.
Yep.
All right. Falcons-Cardinals. Maybe the Falcons finally get a win. They've lost 5 in a row because I've been jinxing them. Falcons favored by 9, over under 44. Right now, the Falcons are 3-10 against the spread, by the way. Cardinals, worst point differential in the NFL at -149. So congratulations, Cardinals. You are bad.
You know how many yards per game they're averaging?
How much?
243.
I was going to say 2 something.
The last team to average fewer than 240 yards in a season happened back in 2007, and I don't know the team. I just know it's been more than 10 years since a team finished the season averaging fewer than 240 yards per year.
Bad. All right. So the matchup here to watch is Julio against Patrick Peterson. That's a fun one. Yeah,
and Julio's played well the last month.
Yeah. So with this game, Falcons win, most likely.
And cover.
We're sure that means the 9. We're not worried about the 9 points.
27-10. 27-10, 30-10. I don't see any way Josh Rosen scores more than 10 points. A Josh Rosen-led offense. David Johnson has been terrible, and it's because of Josh Rosen. David Johnson's a good running back. We know this.
I don't think it's Josh Rosen. I like Josh Rosen.
I know, because you're an apologist for Josh Rosen.
I am.
And maybe they just need new players, new offensive line, this and that. But if David Johnson's averaging fewer than 3.6 yards per carry, and I know he's got a good matchup here against the Falcons who can't stop the rush.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way the Cardinals cover 9 is if they do what they did in Kansas City, shorten the game and try and keep it close. But I think the Falcons' pass offense just has too much, and they're go away from Patrick, and they have enough weapons to drop 27 on them. I don't see how the Cardinals score enough points.
Well, Falcons
like the under.
Not good.
I like the under, too.
44.5? 44.
Yeah, I like the under.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to go Falcons to cover.
And Ito Smith, right? Great matchup for him because it seems like they're just trying to figure out, like they're just trying to get to the finish line at this point. So Tevin's kind of doing more timeshare with Ito. Cardinals' rush defense is disgusting. They're just as bad as their offense. You can run. So when you give Matt Ryan the option to run against a bad rush defense, and he has all those weapons to pass to, and then you combine that with the Cardinals' lack of offense, I just think it's a 27-10 game, 27-13.
Okay, fair enough. Next up, late games, Niners-Seahawks. Niners by 4.5. Sorry, Seahawks by 4.5. Over under 44.5. Seahawks played Monday night, as we know. Had an impressive win. Impressive defense. The defense was really good. However, short week, road trip. Not a huge road trip, but a road trip. Seahawks are 4-2-1 against the spread on the road. They played a couple of weeks ago. The Seahawks won 43-16. The Niners are, look, I know they beat the Broncos the other day, but they're still playing a third-string quarterback who should be on the practice squad. I know he's had a couple of good games. Thank you, Kyle Shanahan. But I don't know. This is 4.5. Like if this was a big spread, I could see taking the home dog. I don't think the Niners keep it this close.
Cover George Kittle, cover the 4.5. How difficult is this? Like, they're targeting George Kittle 42,000 times a game.
Yeah.
Like, if you stop George Kittle, there's no way they get in positions to make plays, right? Like, every time I've seen the 49ers play well this year, George Kittle's had a monster game. Stop George Kittle, win the game. And I think the Seahawks are playing with such violence on defense that this could be a rude awakening for them. I'll take and it would be nice if they could get Doug Baldwin back this week because, again, just watching that Seahawks game last night, it's like, it reminded me like on Tecmo Bowl where you had 3 run plays and then the pass plays were all go routes. It was Russell rolls right, rolls left, and praise Tyler Lockett outran the guy. Otherwise, they just eat it, and he wasn't open last night. So Doug Baldwin as a possession receiver would be nice underneath.
Did you see the Tecmo Bowl reenactment of the Dolphins touchdown, by the way?
I love those.
It's good stuff.
I love those.
All right. Yeah, we're both taking Seahawks here to cover. Okay. And if I were you at 4.5, would you agree get it now if you want the Seahawks?
Yes.
Because everything's going to go up.
Agreed.
Okay. Pats Steelers. Here's another one of the game of the week contenders. Pats by 2.5. Over under 49.5. It's at Pittsburgh. Steelers have lost 3 in a row. James Conner's status still very much in doubt for another week. Big Ben hurt his shoulder the other day. Came out.
His ribs.
Shoulder? Ben's shoulder.
Yeah, but I thought it was his ribs.
Oh, I thought he hurt his shoulder.
And his ribs? It could very well be his shoulder and his ribs. I just know.
He's a Terminator anyway. He's always got like 3 things hurt, but you're probably right.
And I don't want to jump ahead of you here, but I want to get to the meat of the matter. They said Ben could go back in that game, and they stuck with Dobbs.
Mm-hmm. And Dobbs was bad.
I hand on Bible, if Ben comes back in that game, they win and cover at Oakland. Leaving Dobbs in when they did, not only lost them the game, it lost like they would have covered that game. Ben comes back in and scores in 32 seconds.
Right.
Like it made no sense when I learned that because I was like, oh, he's definitely hurt. He's got his helmet on. That confused me. And I'm like, if he was out, he'd not have his helmet on or a ball cap or something, but he was ready to go. So, and Cowherd made this comment on Fox Sports 1 yesterday. It's like there's some rift or miscommunication between Tomlin's ego and Roethlisberger's ego where they obviously shot something into the ribs, numbed him up, and he could have went back in and they went in cover. So I still like the Steelers despite all the injuries.
Right. Okay. I'm not sure. Yeah, the Pats, they've been 3 and 4 on the road. Their defense has not been good.
No.
Do you think Belichick's getting soft? I'm kidding.
Oh, no. I was thrown off by that question. Sorry.
Did you hear what he said?
No, I didn't. Did you say we're on to Pittsburgh?
No. Well, that's the thing. And so many people kind of replayed some of his older comments. We're on to Pittsburgh and, very dry. And they talked about what a disaster it was on Sunday. And he was like, it's not like somebody died. It's the NFL.
All right. Wow.
Anyway, I was kidding.
He has a heart? Question mark?
Yeah. But I don't know this one. I mean, Steelers, backs are against the wall here.
Yeah, I like the Steelers at home here.
Yeah, because the Steelers, if they lose this one, the Ravens can pass them. The Ravens will pass them if they beat the Bucs. And then the wild card is very much in doubt because there's a big, scramble at 7-6 right now.
Yeah.
Basically, if it's most likely, if the Steelers lose this, they are on the outside looking in. As long as either the Colts, Dolphins, not Broncos. No, actually Broncos, because the Broncos would have the tiebreaker, and the Broncos are playing the Browns. So if the Browns went to 7-7, no, it's because Steelers would be 7-6-1. My bad. But right now, Dolphins are 7-6, Colts are 7-6, Ravens are 7-6. The Ravens would jump the Steelers for the division. If the Colts beat the Cowboys, they'd be 8-6, and the Steelers would be 7-6-1, right?
Yes.
So backs against the wall a little bit here.
They're going to put every needle in his. I think it was his ribs. Were you able to check that?
Yeah, it's ribs.
Okay, so and they were talking about it. It was like, oh, it's tough to sleep and yada yada yada. Roethlisberger's probably had broken ribs like every other year this throughout his career.
Right.
I love Roethlisberger in this spot.
All right, 2 games left. We got to get it under an hour, so let's roll. Eagles Rams. Rams favored by 9. Over under 53.5. It's at LA. Philly's still alive for a playoff berth technically, but their secondary is still very banged up. Sidney Jones had some hamstring issues again. Everybody else is still out. Look, the Rams haven't been great. They're 1-4-1 against the spread in their last 6. They didn't look good on Sunday night. Of course, everybody thinks, we figured out Sean McVay. Yeah, okay, whatever. Philly's 1-4 against spread in their last 5. I think this is a get-right game for the Rams.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the Eagles. I've been saying for a few weeks, hey, it's the Eagles really need to step up here. And this might be, and last stand can be overused, and I know it can be overused by me. But I just don't think the Eagles are good enough. And I think the Rams are going to torch them.
Yeah, those injuries to their secondary have been exploited the last 2 weeks. Amari Cooper having that monster game against them, and the Rams have better receivers. They have more receivers than just Amari Cooper. So you'll see a little bit more Todd Gurley. I think Todd Gurley was misused in that game against the Bears. And again, don't discredit an LA team playing in disgustingly cold weather in Chicago at night. I mean, there's no reprieve there. Your muscles get tight. You're always, loosey-goosey. I'm the California kid. I'm going to go out there and score 50 points. And then you have to, your body tightens up. It's not fun. The Bears are used to it. I mean, they practice in it. So
right.
You can't adjust in a couple practices in cold weather. So I think that comes back. And, yeah, the Eagles secondary is too depleted. I'll take the Rams to cover the 9.
I will too. The Rams want the home field, and they're tied with the Saints right now.
Right.
And they lost to the Saints. So they got to win and keep pace here. Yeah, I think they're going to torch the Eagles. I think they're going to put a nail in the Eagles' coffin right now. All right, Monday night, speaking of the Saints-Panthers, Saints favored by 6.5 at Carolina, over-under 51.5. Panthers are struggling. They've lost 5 in a row. Cam Newton's shoulder seems to be bothering him. It gets exacerbated when he makes very inaccurate passes, even though he's always been a somewhat inaccurate passer to an extent. The Saints play well against the run. Does not portend to be easy sledding for Christian McCaffrey. The Saints offense, though, 2 shaky games in a row. I mean, against the Cowboys, they got slowed down. Against the Bucs, I know it was wet.
Yeah.
They weren't, they were losing in the third. They were losing 14-3 in the third quarter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder, and maybe it's bias here, do the Panthers, can they step up? Their defense has just been so bad.
Terrible.
They have no pass rush at all. I don't know. 6.5 at home. They've played well at home generally.
Yeah.
So I kind of wonder if they could if they're going to put up a fight here. I don't see them rolling over. That's all.
They've kind of rolled over, though. The way that they've played is just.
But they're losing close. Other than the Steelers game, they're losing close games. I'm not trying to make excuses for them because I think they've been bad. But they're losing close. They're making bad mistakes and doing things late that, screw things up. They've been close. It's not like they've been terrible. They've just underachieved and come up small in big moments, to be quite honest.
But what if the Saints just completely focus on stopping McCaffrey? How do they hang? I just don't.
The receivers are better than you think.
Yeah, DJ Moore has had a nice stretch.
Yeah. I mean, Samuel's stepping up a little.
Yeah.
I mean, Devin Funchess is not good, but I don't know.
I guess the one thing I look at with the Saints struggles the last few weeks, we kind of poked fun at all those no-name guys or not household name guys making all those touchdowns a month ago. It's kind of become their tragic flaw in recent weeks. This is why they wanted Des Bryant. Has Brandon Marshall even been active? I don't know.
I don't know.
You and I not knowing if Brandon Marshall's been active is why did they sign him?
Right. I thought that from the beginning. So
yeah, but I mean, this is showing why they went out and got Dez, because I think missing somebody out of Thomas, Kamara, and Ingram has really had the script flipped on him. Those guys, Alvin Kamara, he's a great player. Love him. He's been very quiet the last 5-7 weeks. He's had some moments, but man, we were talking about Kamara at week, and I know Ingram was suspended, but we need to hear more about Alvin Kamara on a weekly basis for that Saints offense to be able to move. Michael Thomas is making plays every week. He had one of the craziest catches of the year this past week. I'm going to take the Saints to cover because I get it before it hits 7. If it does, I don't think it will. But I like it. It's teasing me to take the Saints. I might change my mind because I take your points on the Panthers playing at home. It's kind of tricky there. And the Saints have not played well at Carolina the last few years.
Right.
Right now I'm going to take the Saints, but I might change my mind.
Yeah, I think this is sort of not necessarily the Panthers' last stand, but where they make a stand, but where Cam Newton makes a stand.
His arm's dead.
I know his arm's struggling.
Going to rush 15 times?
I think he's going to rush a decent amount.
Okay.
I actually think this is one of those games where he kind of says, okay. I know it's not up to him. I don't mean he calls plays. That's not it. But they sort of, I just don't. I have a hard time having watched them over the years that they're just going to roll. They're going to roll over.
One quick thing, and I know we got to go, but the one thing that drives me crazy about Cam Newton, his dramatic kneel and get up from the huddle. I wonder how many years that's going to take. I know everybody kneels in the huddle. It's just so weird. I go, this guy's so big. His body's beat up. And maybe it's just a timing thing. I think it's kind of like a starting pitcher breathing and things like that. But the dramatic kneel and the dramatic get up when he comes out of the huddle, I'm like, I don't know if it's a timing thing or whatever, but it's kind of like a weird pet peeve that I have about this.
And the other thing, when they do 2-minute drills, is the worst thing. It's pain. Like I want to throw things at the TV because they move so slowly, and he does. He moves slowly in that situation. Like, you look and you see these other teams. They go, "Oh, we just completed the pass in the middle of the field. Within 8 seconds, we're going to spike the ball." And like they're 15, and the clock's ticking, and they're looking around. You go, "Oh my God, my head wants to explode."
Yeah, it's kind of just a weird quirk that he has. I'm like, why get up from the line? Like, you know what you want to do.
All right, anything else you got?
No, very interested. Again, going to finish on my Browns. Very proud of their effort against Carolina. I think the elevation there in Denver is going to be tricky. And Philip Lindsay misused last week. Big game for him against the Browns rush defense.
All right. Folks, catch us on Twitter. He is at Freelance Fowler. I'm at Halpin37. The main account is at Pickwatch. Again, wherever you're watching, YouTube, Facebook, like or subscribe to both. We really appreciate it. And the chatter for the conversation we had about Chargers Chiefs will be up on the YouTube channel later on Tuesday. So please go check that out on its own, in addition to the full F. So you'll be able to see there later. It'll be archived. All our episodes are archived on YouTube as well as on Facebook. All right. That's it for this edition of Pickwatch Live. Remember, I'll be back on Friday morning with Josh Katchowitz to make all our picks for Week 15. So please come on back then. For Ryan Fowler, I'm John Halpin. Thank you for watching Pickwatch Live.